Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Gray Area here on the Black Men Unfiltered Network, simulcasting on the Sparta HQ Network. I'm Mr. Bennett, the 7B president, with my partner, as always,
This is Sparta!
the ghost of Sparta, aka Peter, aka Patiotis. Yasu, my brother, what's going on?
What is going on, my man?
Another work week, another set of travel. Again, I got a 6 a.m. flight. I leave the house at 3. And so it's business as usual. I've certainly become a business traveler, and so just getting used to it, getting better at it every week, more prepared and whatnot. Just submitted my receipts from last week, and then got my rental car. I just booked that prior to getting on the show and whatnot. So yeah, so I'm set, and so it's just another weekend, and you just, when you're home, you just try to make the most of it. Again, I cook dinner as I usually do on Sunday nights. Like I said, try to maintain some normalcy. This week had a little bit of a twist because I had to get up early this morning. So I'm getting up early tomorrow morning, and I got up early this past morning because my daughter is in Grenada as we speak. So we had to drop her off. We had to drive to JFK this morning to drop her off, and that's a bad airport. I hate driving to JFK. First of all, I held anything but the Bell Parkway. I hate the Bell Parkway. I hate the BQE, and certainly when you get to JFK, even though they're doing a lot of development there, it's like it's non-ending. So hopefully, they may get it together at some point. But
I don't think
but
JFK is
yeah,
that bad, actually. I think LaGuardia is worse.
probably. No, you might be right, because it certainly is sort of in the city. So yeah, so I would imagine that. But and again, I'm not saying you can see the progress that they're making, with the new terminals and everything. So it's definitely stuff's going up, but just the traffic and the congestion, and it seems like it doesn't matter which time you go. So this is, we get in there like at 5 a.m, and it's still, it's still a mess down there. So yeah, so she's off doing her thing. And so yeah, in fact, she called us tonight, and let's just say she has very modest means, which I was kind of saying, good. So now you appreciate the luxury, the near luxury you were living in up here. So now you're gonna have to, get down and dirty like everyone else, live modestly, and be about the work. And if you want to not live like that in the future, then make sure you get the goal, and you get your degree, and you get out of there, so that you don't have to live like that for the rest of your life. So it's definitely certainly a wake up call for her. But then also it's like, yeah, this is going to be your world for a minute. So again, very happy about that. And but again, for everyone who's coming in tonight, make sure you hit the like button as you come in. Appreciate you guys coming in here tonight. And also, thanks for BMU. Appreciate you popping in for the well wishes. And certainly make sure you hit the like button. And also, again, if you want, consider dropping a Cash App or a Super Chat, certainly to the Black Men Unfiltered Network. I'm sure he'd appreciate that. And then anything that you may have for us personally, you certainly can contribute to certain our own individual Cash App. Certainly, we appreciate the support tonight. But yeah, man. But I understand you had a much needed and much deserved week off. So why don't you kind of get into that a little bit? How's your time off? And certainly
Before I get into that, I want to ask you a question. Did you get a little emotional when you like sent her on her merry way?
Nope. My wife was looking for her to go weeks ago because the process of getting her ready was a pretty agonizing process for my wife. She definitely thinks that my daughter certainly needs to get on her own and again get out of the like I said, the quote unquote luxury of living at home and taking things for granted. So my wife, more than anybody, came to the decision like, yeah, she needs to go. She couldn't wait for my daughter to leave so that she can get an idea of independent living and whatnot. So she was definitely ready for the transition. And my thing is, I'm about the business. It's as a father, obviously you're proud when you're able to pause a little bit. You're proud of the accomplishments that they're able to make, but you also understand that there's bigger and more challenging things ahead. So in a lot of ways, I'm almost like a coach. You know what I mean? So it's like you're in a tournament, you win the game, but you know that the next game is against a much tougher opponent. So a lot of times you say to your team, you'll say, okay, good game and everything, but I'll see you guys Monday morning, 3:00 for practice. So you're already thinking about the next the next game and the next challenge. So obviously, just with her moving down this environment, she gave us a video of the place. It's like I said, it's a small place. It's meager means. It's I wouldn't even call it a stove. It's more like a hot plate that she has down there. The closet space is limited. She has to share a bathroom with a roommate, and so it's like, yeah, it's in a luxury island, beautiful beaches and weather and all that kind of stuff. But again, you're not there to play; you're there to do work. So I
obviously,
think overall, I think the environment will be good for her, and just getting away from. And I think with her, I think she was kind of fighting it to an extent that she was kind of living it up, going to concerts, and just basically trying to hang on to as much as she could, because she knew that she would be going away, and this wouldn't be a reality for the next couple of years, or at least until her breaks. So the idea was, let me get my last minute of sort of partying, so to speak, and then I'll get down to business with the books. I mean, she's pretty good at getting down to business, but no, from my perspective, no tears at this point. The game is still going on. Celebration might be when I get, because like I said, we're going down in September. They have like a white coat ceremony where basically, the new students coming in for the year, the parents come up and you ceremonially put their doctor's coat on them and whatnot. But my thing is, when you walk in 3 years with the degree, and when they can officially call you Dr. Bennett, then, people call me Dr. Bennett, but now she'll be the real Dr. Bennett. So when that happens, then okay, I can breathe a little bit, and okay, I can celebrate. But my thing is, the game is very much in play. This is maybe quarter number 2 of a 4-quarter game, and we need to stay focused and concentrated on business. So I'll let the emotions fly at the proper time. But now, my baby is going away. It's like, no, because honestly, quite frankly, my view, she should have been there about 2-3 years ago. I mean, I think she might have relaxed a little bit, certainly after graduating undergrad, whatnot. But my thing is, you're on this train, keep it moving. She took a couple years off, not necessarily the best years for her, but then again, she had to purge a lot of things, purge some people, and some, just get some things out of her life. And so maybe she wasn't mentally ready for medical school at that point. So, I won't say it was a total wash, but I think she needed to, definitely get some hard realities realized. Is like, look, these girls who your friends from back in the day, what, they're going in a different direction, and so are you. And so, so again, there had to be a lot of purging of past relationships and just those things that just weren't doing any good. So again, I think she had to kind of go through a growth process in that time before just going into medical school. But my thing is, because I know a lot of people, they'll go to school, they'll take a break off, and then it takes them 10 years before they get back into it. So it's like, I never wanted to get off the train if I know that's what my direction is. Why delay it? But again, maybe in her case, it might be the best thing for her. So the next couple of years, how it works out. She already told me she's got an exam about a month from now, her first exam. So they don't play. They kind of hit the ground running over there. So it's like, okay, yeah, it's time to get.
Schools overseas are completely different than here. Let's keep that in real. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Because it's not like take this. No, you go right into your major. There's no taking history on that. You're going right into your major. Simple as that. But there also can be more pricey or more cheaper. Depends where you go too. So yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Maria Constantine, as always. Certainly a loyal watcher and whatnot. And she's also spreading her wings a little bit in the Sparta HQ space. So it's good that she's becoming more visible, getting more airtime out there. So definitely follow Sparta HQ Network so you can see more of Mariana and her takes on certainly in issues that are raised certainly within the Sparta HQ space. But always a pleasure having you on with us tonight. So tonight we're gonna kind of I don't know. I guess we might call this a Beards Part 2. I know back in fact I looked at the.
You want me to talk about my vacation a little bit before we get into it?
Oh, that's right. I was going to, but then you cut me off, and then you went into you asked me a question. My bad. So talk about your vacay.
It was way overdue. I ate a lot of food. I drank a lot. And it wasn't all pleasure. It was a little business. I have some surprise for the Spartan Institute Network. So tune into that because me and CQ worked on little projects when we were down there. But it was a great time. Thursday, the traffic wasn't bad. I got down there. It was supposed to be like 3 o'clock. I got there around 2:30. sliced up half hour because there was no traffic. I was flying straight down. Thursday night, me and King actually went out. I surprised him. I don't know if you saw the video I posted of his birthday that I embarrassed him from everybody. I did a birthday celebration for him. So, except that, and I actually want to share my screen for a minute.
Sure thing.
So before I went out with King, I played a little prank on my buddy CQ. And it took me an hour to blow this fucking thing up.
Gosh. No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Oh, man. Some things can't be unseen, ladies and gentlemen. I had no idea.
So, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I got one more picture for you guys. And obviously, we had to get some cigars in.
Right.
I can't go there without no cigars. You know that.
That's his house, or like you guys went to like a cigar lounge?
No, lounge. His wife will have us on a silver platter by our nuts if that happened.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a great time. No complaints here. The worst part is actually leaving. That's the worst part because all my friends up there like, I don't want to come on, I want to stay up there. I want to go back to work.
Yeah, for sure.
Not looking forward to going back to work tomorrow. But yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah, I also understand you ran into King also.
Yep. Actually, I have a small video about King, and he's gonna kill me, but I don't care.
Who just had a birthday recently, so again, happy birthday! I think he joined the 40 club, I believe.
I believe so.
40 or 41,
but something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when you get a second, just share my screen. So he didn't know I was doing this. He was shocked and he was pissed.
No. Yes.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. King. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. You're a jackass. Y'all are awesome. Thank you. No.
So I feel like he got a little emotional if you see it in the video a little bit, but he was shocked, happy, and pissed at me at the same time.
Yeah.
So he didn't want that. He goes, you're an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
He went afterwards after he ate the cake. He goes, you're a sneaky little bastard. I gotta watch my back from now on. I'm like, yeah, you should have known this after all these years. I'm like,
wow. Shout out to King. Follow King, certainly the King and Me show on his own network. Him and his girlfriend Michelle, producing great content over there Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Certainly go over there and follow their channel. Also, I've been missing out on some of their content because again, usually I get back to the hotel and then usually go to dinner and whatnot. So a lot of times I don't get settled in my hotel until close to 8 o'clock. So I missed some of their content as of yet, but I need to start following again.
The good thing about King and Michelle, they're in round 2 of the YouTube network top couples right now. They're in the second round. So they hit they passed round 1, they're into round 2. So I hope they get it. I really do. I hope they get a nice little trophy there. I think they deserve it.
Absolutely. Now, she was there too when you guys went out?
Michelle was actually away for business. So I did speak to her because obviously they're on the phone and stuff like that. I talked to her for a few minutes, but she was away for business that weekend and it just didn't work out. All through our schedule. That's my original plan. Me, King, and Michelle are getting together. Then the next day I was supposed to meet up with Bossman. That didn't work out because I didn't realize he's a lot further out. Where I was, it was like over
Maryland's a big state, so I mean, you could be on one side or the other, and it's a few hours to get.
He's in Virginia, actually.
Okay, so he's a little further south. Then.
Yeah, he's further out.
Yeah.
So he was like over 100 miles. Like I'm thinking over an hour. So timing did not work out between his job and some family stuff was going on. Yeah. So timing didn't work out. That didn't happen. But I hanged out with CQ 2 days. It was a great time. I can't complain. I cannot complain.
Awesome.
Right.
Well, again, hopefully, one time we get the whole band together and then do a show. We get all those DMV folks all together in one room. That'd be pretty cool to have a show with all those guys together. So certainly something to plan for and to look forward to. But glad you were able to get a little R&R before you get back into the thick of things and whatnot. And
I've already started.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
I already
So,
started uploading stuff. I already got stuff in works. Don't worry, in our meeting tomorrow, we're gonna have a long conversations.
yeah, I hope I could. I hope I can make it. Depends on how I get settled. Usually the Mondays when you kind of get settled in. And also, I got another story. Like my boss actually had gotten sick last week, so he wasn't available for it. So again, I had to take on a few more roles in his absence. So I don't know quite what it is. I think everyone's being a little hush hush about that because obviously with HIPAA and whatnot, you can't talk openly about a lot of stuff.
Absolutely.
But hopefully he's in a good space, and that certainly look forward to seeing him next week, or certainly I'll get an update on his condition. So so again, so a little twists and turns there, and whatnot. But like I said, I'm slated to go down there for the rest of this month into the first week in September. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, let's get into this, man. So again, again, this is one of the topics that you certainly brought up, and again, this almost be a part 2. Because again, back in I'm just thinking we've done so many shows. So going back to last November of last year, we talked about this subject of beards and just how different cultures, certainly today and throughout time, there has been sort of a trends. We've had ancient cultures like the Egyptians who were all clean shaven, like they shaved everything. Before going bare or whatever was the norm. Certainly they were really heavily into the shaving. A lot of the Romans were into the shaving and whatnot. If you look at a lot of the ancient Roman artworks and whatnot, you see a lot of the Caesars and whatnot, were clean shaven, whereas the Greeks, you see, a lot of them had beards. So, and that's certainly been a trend. We talked about the evolution of shaving over the years. Certainly, I think World War I, really introduced the clean shaven look to a lot of the world because with World War I you had the introduction of gas warfare and chemical warfare, and so the use of facial masks. And the thing back then was you really couldn't get a secure grip on your face if you certainly with the masks of that time. I think they've relaxed the rules a little bit today as far as what you can wear, but back then you had that to form a flush seal, you had to have a clean shaven. So again, that's when they started introducing shaving kits into as standard equipment, and just certain protocols throughout the military and whatnot. And then that became sort of the look of the day when you had this sort of clean shaven look. So a lot of the trends were set by either politicians. If you look at a lot of our presidents, I think William G. Harding, was the last president who had facial hair. Since then, you haven't had a president that's had facial hair since then. You saw clean shaven started to come in, and then you've had back forths with people adopting a bearded look, or at least or the mustache look. So again, I think in the 70s you had the quote unquote stash, or you had the corn stash and whatnot, or you think of mustache, you think of Tom Selleck from the 80s with Magnum PI and whatnot, and that, so it kind of went away for a while. Now you sort of see the trend where bearded is certainly starting to come in, certainly into the business world. I had just seen just a quick short recently, and they were talking about a lot of these billionaires, like most of these billionaires are clean shaven. Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or whatnot. A lot of these guys are clean shaven. This guy Ellison of I forget of Oracle. I think he's always sort of rocked the bearded look. But a lot of guys, a lot of influential people seem to have clean shaven faces. But certainly it kind of goes back and forth with this. But from your understanding, do you think that trend is changing? Do you think the beard look is kind of making a comeback? So why don't you talk about that a little bit in the motivation for the show?
Let's get backtrack all the way now. So
sure.
Greeks always had beards. We already established that. Romans were off and on. It depends who you're talking to. Generals had beards, but more the higher end did it. Egyptians obviously were clean shaven. I don't know how that trend, but they had the fake beard thing on their straps. Makes no sense personally. But when we fast forward through World War II and all that stuff, beards were always trending or non-trending. They were off and on. You had the pencil mustache was a big thing for a while. The goatees came in the 90s really heavy. And chin strap, or I call it douche strap. either one you want to call it. Then right when COVID hit, beards were literally coming in like what I'm rocking right now, a very short beard. But after COVID, it came in full force. Everyone was growing their beards out. Everybody's growing their beards out. Like that's why a lot of those big channels like Dan C, North Face, those guys got really big. Or the companies, the oil bureau companies were coming. They were getting hit hard to the point they couldn't keep up with product. That's how much they were coming into. Now, and I've been talking to a lot of people. A lot of people saying, I hate shaving. That is a trend. Most people hate shaving. I don't know how you do it every day, Paul. Good for you. But I fucking hate shaving. I fucking hate it. I break out all the time when I shave. It irritates my skin. It pisses me off. I hate fucking shaving.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But I also got, guilt trip of trimming down my beard this week. So that's
actually talk about, because you had did a poll. So again, if you go to Pete's Facebook, he actually put a poll out because again, and in fact, if you just remember from a week ago, your beard was much, much longer, and so you were contemplating
about 2.5 inches.
Should you go with the shorter look or the longer? Now, me personally, again, I kind of weighed in myself there. I think you look very good with the short, trimmed and kept beard. I've never been a fan of the long bearded look, but I know that's gaining in popularity. But I think between the look last week and this week, I certainly prefer this one. And no, it's not because I'm president of 7Bs, but I just think it's just a cleaner look. And quite frankly, I don't think it ages as much. I think having a longer beard, and I'm talking about like 2 inches or more, I think it just makes you look older than what you are. And so again, I've never been a fan of that. I certainly appreciate having a more youthful look. I mean, having some gray in there, some wisdom stuff, no problem with that. But I think when it's long and gray, then I think I start evoking pictures of like Michelangelo and Moses, and some of those wiser folks from back in the day. But hey, it is what it is. What can I say?
So I love my long beard. Don't give a shit whatever it says. But so I have my buddy Jake King, my buddy Nemo, and Alexa from Texas. Those are only a few people who said keep the long beard. Everybody said go short. I always have to keep people in mind. I am a single crazy Greek who's trying to date. So most women are not going for that massive beard of mine. Mm. As much as I love it. And you're right at one point, it does age you. I'm not going to deny that one bit, all right? Because I do have grays. The reason I never dye my beard because I don't like the products are in dye. Mm-hmm. It has a lot of silicone, and I've seen people dye their beard from just for men, and they are literally rushing to the house because their skin is on fire. Mm-hmm. Sometimes some people are allergic to some of those products. I didn't want to risk my skin on that.
Yeah, so, it's almost kind of like a thing. Like once you start, you can't stop after a while. Once you start coloring your hair, I don't know if your hair naturally stops producing the color in your hair, whatnot. But it seems like once you start it, it's kind of hard to get off it once you begin. So
the grays are a combination of a couple of things. Stress is number one. 2, hydration is a big factor, mm-hmm. and 3, genetics. Like obviously, your genetics was. Unfortunately, you lost your hair in the process. In my case, I get shitload of grays. Mm-hmm. I got my first grays. I was in high school. My mom literally woke up one day when she was like in her 20s, half her hair went white, literally overnight. Yeah, so it's a combination of stuff. There is no proof.
Well, stress is a big one too. I think I shared this in the past. The stress, especially when it came to this is about 2016, 2017, when I started taking care of my parents. I think some of the stress of doing all of that, I think that also led to a lot of my hair loss as well. So again, that combination of genetics, because again, my brother, I think he has a full head of hair still, and my dad, he had kind of the bald spot in the back here. And I definitely started forming that. And I was like, well, look, I want to look like my dad. So again, I never understood why guys back in the day would have that hair with the bald spot in the back. I never, thought that was an attractive look. So my thing is I'm either going to napalm this whole thing or try some sort of hair solution.
And that's what we call the boy ego look. Because the boy ego had a little I completely agree with you that. So with my texture, I have very thick hair. Number one, so facial hair is very thick. So, and I've been going back and forth for a while now. You know what I'm saying? And I have an opportunity to date some gorgeous women, but the beard must go. I'm like, I don't want to cut my beard because a woman told me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
how much do you think status has to do with that?
Status as can you get more
like wealth or what have you? Like, do you think, like, for the women who say, "Oh, I like clean shaven," or "I like beards or mustaches or whatever," how much do you think social status really has to do with that opinion? Because I think at the end of the day, I think a lot of women are simply just drawn to power, like what looks strong, what looks masculine.
Absolutely. If you're talking about masculine and strong, a beard is definitely a masculine and strong thing. Like a little longer beard. I had it. That was a power beard where my length was at that point. I know my buddy Drake. He has it literally down in his chest. He doesn't give a shit. He goes, "I'm single. I don't give a shit. I'm not shaved." He shaved for so many years because he was a CO. So they have to be clean shaved because of gas masks. It also depends on Warren how strict he wants to be with the clean shaven rule, because I've seen CO's beards. But so I ended up started talking to CQ. Then his wife got involved, and it was a whole big conversation over dinner. Right. And so we went picture to picture. I had one here, and CQ would go like, "Dude, honestly, like, I think you have a decent face for a guy. I think you would look a lot better with short hair." I'm like, "Oh, I don't like those fucking words."
Yeah. And CQ is mostly clean shaven, right? I mean,
yeah, except during the winter. The winter, he would grow his beard out. The only time he had a longer beard than probably an inch and a half to 2 inches was literally when he got injured. He started doing like most people call him the freedom beard. Is when you literally start, you're shaving for so many years because you're in the service. It's time to, let it go. You know what I'm saying? Like clean it out.
Right.
So I did a poll, obviously. Like I said, most guys said, "Always keep it," obviously, but I need more a woman's opinion on this. Every woman, pretty much, except one, like I said, Alexa from Texas, is the only one who said keep it long. So I'm going to try this. Simple as that, because I want to see. I'm going to put myself as a guinea pig and try it. Is it a shorter is more attractive versus a longer, or a longer is more attractive to women?
Yeah, absolutely. And for the fact we don't have a poll, I don't think we have poll access here to do this. But certainly I would love for the ladies certainly to chime in, or for the guys who have them. Like, did you get more action, or did you get more looks or whatnot for having a beard, or for being clean shaven, having a mustache or not having a mustache, or just ladies in general? What is your preference? Do you like beards, or would you prefer clean shaven, mustache or no mustache? What is your rate on that? So again, certainly feel free to drop your comments in the chat. We'd love to hear from the ladies in terms of what their preference is when it comes to facial hair, certainly on the man. But I want to give some acknowledgement again. So we have some folks here. King Rooster, appreciate you stopping in here tonight, and certainly welcome to the platform. And then also, guy we haven't heard from in a while, Angry Snowman in the building tonight. I stopped shaving because I could finally grow a real beard. So again, took him some time to put his together. But I know Angry Snowman, he goes all the way back with us to the BMU days and whatnot on different platforms. Good to see you as always. And then Mariana chimes in also. Also, mullets are coming back since COVID, even though it's men's hairstyle. Yeah, I think the pandemic had a lot to do, because again, you didn't have a reason to get up every day. I mean, you had people, trust me, I work remotely. I never really stopped working, maybe outside of a month, and then they brought me back on. But I worked remotely for over 3+ years. And, you got to a point where women weren't even doing their hair. I mean, a lot of women, like, we would have meetings and a lot of people wouldn't cam up because they were still in their bonnets, or they were in rollers, or their hair was messy. They weren't, like, just the idea of being unkept. Yeah, you might have took a shower, but you were in shorts or pajama pants or something like that. I just think the idea of people not having a reason to get up and to get themselves together to go to work. I think that's certainly a major factor as far as why a lot of guys just started to grow their beards in, because again, they didn't have to. There wasn't like an image or a look that you were looking to maintain. But like I said, I think the same thing with women. Very few meetings and the company that I worked for at the time, they didn't insist that you had to cam up. Camming up was optional. And I know some companies after a while, they start to get more strict with that. It's like, look, you have to be on camera when we're having these virtual meetings. But if they were like, look, you didn't have to cam up, most people wouldn't. And you would hear in the back chat or just talk to people later on. It's like, yeah, I'm still in my pajamas. I'm not even worrying about trying to impress anybody with the look. So I certainly think that experience certainly could be a reason, or why people didn't, or why men in particular didn't feel the need to shave every day, and therefore decided, I'm just going to let my beard grow out. So that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Mm-hmm. So first, I want to kind of backtrack a couple of things. So to Mariana's statement is coming back. No, they're not coming back. They're in full force right now, and I think it's the most retarded style. I personally never liked that one. And during the COVID also, and it's starting to finally die down. Almost every man was growing their hair out. Man bun, it was in full force. Long beards were full force. So there was a study done very recently. And I'm going to get to my next statement right into that. So which were the most top sexiest facial hair for men? So 5 o'clock shower was one of them. A short, like this style was a second. And a little more fuller, like a quarter to an inch. Mm-hmm. They women mostly prefer into the men. If they're trying to go, a guy like myself is going to approach them in like at a bar or a setting like that. So by that set, now I'm going to backtrack before COVID, before everything. I'm talking about 2015 to 2020. All right. That's where I always rocked this kind of style beer or a 5 o'clock shot, because I already got tired of my balls bitching about burning a freaking shave because they refused to purchase beard guards. And I was always arguing that factor. I just got tired of her bitching. I really did. I love Janine to death, but I got tired of her bitching about my beard. So I kept it very short always. And that's where I got most women coming to talk to me. And we were more attractive when I had my beard at a very, very short length, like the style I'm rocking right now, like an inch. Inch and a half, excuse me. So now to your original thing, do you get more action when your beard's short? Unfortunately, I want to say yeah, believe it or not. It's a very few people, like Dan C's wife and some other women out there, that will say they like the longer beard. They do enjoy it. But that's a very small niche, I realized. And I've been asking this question for a while now. Since last November, I've been asking this question to every female I talk. I'm like, let me ask you a question. Married, not married, it didn't matter who you were. You were a female, I was asking that question. Which one do you prefer? Short, long, short. That's a short across the board. Nobody really likes it. And this makes me laugh a little bit. Back in the day, longer your beard, more manly you are, more strong you are. Vikings are a great example. And the Greeks didn't really have that like Viking look beard, but they had a decent beard on them. So it makes you think, which one was the most attractive facial hair? What do you think?
Again, I think a lot is going to depend on time and culture. I would probably say, I guess more like the kept beard look. Like, again, you don't want a beard down to your chest necessarily. I don't think women would necessarily find that attractive, but I would still opt with the shorter beard look than over anything else. But I certainly, for the clean shaven guys, I mean, I think there was certainly a case made for that. Like I said, you look at, I think probably the icon of that is like a James Bond, for example, always clean shaven, always well manicured, like from top to bottom. I think that kind of look Is I think it's certainly something that I think would never. I don't think that'll ever necessarily go away per se. I think that obviously it makes you look younger, especially unless you're going to color your beard in. If you don't want the sort of the sandy look, it's always good in the business world. And you know, and there used to be, like I said, I remember being in my earlier career, you know, going to some training classes, and quite frankly, you know, the stats, at least the studies they were saying at the time, was guys with clean shaver were more trustworthy. So when you're doing business, like remember like the old black and white movies where you had the guy with the mustache and he would twirl his mustache, like the dastardly villain. He would always sort of spin his hairs like he's scheming or something like that. So the idea of having
the
facial hair,
handlebar, it's called
yeah. So like the guy who had that, so having facial hair at a time, it was kind of meant with being a bit more mischievous, like what's that person really up to? But a clean shaven look was almost like I got nothing to hide. So again, you're gonna find the best. I think having that appearance, I don't think would ever necessarily go away. Per se, but I think certainly the bearded look is gaining promise, and I got to say this, especially it's not so much for me the length of the beard. I think a lot of it is the grooming of the beard. I really do. Like for a guy who, my thing is, if you can see from a guy who takes the time to put in to make sure that it's edged properly, that it's even, that it's like just, I think that idea of being manicured, beard or no beard, I think is something that really, when women talk about what they're attracted to, I don't think it's because, again, you don't want to look homeless either, right? Because homeless guys got beards. So again, the idea between being well groomed and, you know, getting that edge on versus not, I think that's where I think the difference is more so than the length of the beard itself, or having a beard or no beard.
It's kind of funny you said that, because when we were talking about this over dinner last night about the beards, and one thing, the same comment came over and over. We can tell you take care of your beard. You can tell the lines are on point. I trimmed the cheeks line. I washed it. I conditioned it. You can tell who takes care of the beard and who doesn't give a flying fuck. So you could tell the difference in the beard right there on the spot.
Yeah.
By that said, now I typed in my assistant, give me the 10 top most sexy beard styles. It goes as called the stubble. I mentioned that already. The full beard, well groomed, it says here. The goatee, classic or Van Dyke. I'm gonna argue that one a little bit, because the Van Dyke and goatee is kind of like dying off at this point. Like it's only very few people have that. The circle beard is also known as a goatee, so I'll skip that one. The short box beard, again, that's a goatee. The name is three same one. It depends how you want to break it down, how you want to call it. Short box beard. The beard stash. So the beard stash is pretty much a long mustache with a short beard. I'm personally not a fan of that one. Yeah. A 5 o'clock shadow is that one I definitely am hearing a lot of females saying that is like a 5 o'clock shadow or stubble is the most sexiest thing they ever see. That's what they always love. That's what I hear from females say all the time.
I'm a little surprised at the stubble piece, because I mean, my thing is even just touching, I wouldn't think that'd be comfortable. Like I can see like a beard that's soft to the touch, like I can get that, but when it's stubble, or like let's say you're making out with a woman or whatever, or you're kind of necking or whatever, I would think that stubble would not be comfortable, or for a woman to feel.
So that, yes and no. If you add beard oil and you do your routine, like at the stubble age, you only can put beard oil. If you use a burr brush, you can add the oil conditions the skin, so it won't be as bad as you think it is. But one thing I always ask the same question: why? He goes, simple. That's a kind of look like, oh, I was too busy saving the fucking world, so I didn't have time to shave. So when I'm hearing that, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So what I left, Chewbacca mustache. The Chewbacca mustache, it's long. Hey, get Coop popped in this little corner.
No, absolutely. Speaking of
yeah.
speaking of Angel himself. So again, so we got the True North Beer
There you go.
Company. It says beer care is self-care. Shout out to you for being here.
100%.
And certainly always a pleasure. Now again, I'm still waiting for that ball care. You got to hook the ball to 7B Brothers up as well.
I'm waiting for the interview he owes us.
Absolutely. That'd be awesome. Certainly having up here for that. So let's make that happen. But thank you for coming on through it tonight. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Actually, now North is insane. Like, North, give me your 5 top most sexiest beer styles, please. And that's what we're going over today. So as I left here, a lot of new products are dropping soon. He's saying, so the extended goatee is another one that is very attractive. And then it goes to a long look. Like I think a long beard looks good on a man, but a single guy for a woman, that's a different story. And that's the conversation we're having tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And the short taper beard, that's a preference thing. So the two style I hear all the time that women go crazy for.
So it's got long and strong, the Kratos beard, business beard,
Vader's beard.
Yeah.
Ducktail, another one. That's the style I personally like. Is nice, taper to the cheeks, into the V, to the cradles. I think, or ducktail, whatever you want to call it. I think that's the best look for me. But you also have to figure out what kind of shape size is your face, a circle, a triangle, or so on. And that's where it comes full. Like North just said, you have beard care is a lot of work. I'm not denying it. Oil, conditioning, washing, butter, and if you want to go extra mile style, bond, heat. It's just not like, let it go. It doesn't work like that. It used to at one time, but not anymore. Look, our skin has evolved ever since in the medieval times. So tell me, which one do you guys think is the best personally?
Yeah. And again, particularly from the ladies, certainly would like to hear your preferences when it comes to beard. Beards or no beards, length wise, whatnot. What do you
Beards
think?
A must, I think.
What do you think is most attractive? Surely in that space. But this seems to go across the board. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, some cultures, for example, beards is like a must. So like even in a lot of African countries, beards is with Ethiopians is a big thing. Rastafarian. So again, if you're from Jamaica or whatever, a lot of Rastafarianism is wearing beards, and so when they really look up to Haile Selassie from Ethiopia, obviously had a long beard. Now I remember back in the I think the 80s and the 90s. Now in the black community, there was a beard style called the Hotep. So if you look at from Egyptian culture, like I said, Egyptians pretty much were clean shaven. But you did have, if you look at a lot of those pharaohs and whatnot in those tombs, they always had like sort of this long beard. So everything was clean shaven on the face, but you had the Hotep where it was like a long beard, but it was like right here. And it would extend from the chin down. So that was called the Hotep. So again, that was a pretty popular style, like in the late 80s and early 90s, when a lot of brothers were rocking the Hotep. There, but again, I saw a lot of guys though that weren't wearing beards. Now I think also another cultural influence, I think if you looked at the time, was like, for example, the Nation of Islam. Now Nation of Islam, contrast that to sort of more orthodox or traditional Islam, most men are clean shaven. I think a mustache is allowed, but for a lot of guys, certainly that clean shaven is the look that they go for. And so when you looked at some of the influence over the time, Minister Louis Farrakhan and whatnot, a lot of the guys around that time, you were kind of discouraged from having a lot of facial hair, at the time. So I think the return again back to beards is certainly something that has certainly gained popularity over in recent years. Certainly in the last few years, like we said earlier, certainly since COVID, I think beard, certainly in the black community, is certainly becoming is becoming a thing again. And Eric, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, he had I don't know if I call it, he had a Hotep beard, but yes, he had that long goatee type beard that was longer than most. But yes,
again, even before COVID, beards were coming in. That was not even a question. I think COVID speed up the process to get the beard to the massive look that you see a lot of men rocking now these days.
Mhm.
Ours, not a lot of men doing it, but there are a good percent of men who do it. Ours, if I had to say a number of my, I would say probably 10% out of 100 is most men are rocking the long beard.
Yeah,
not all do it. A lot of priests do it, obviously. At least in my
in the Greek Orthodox Church, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. Now is that why is that? Is that just a cultural thing or Orthodox priests? Because even Father Casadino, I didn't see him with a very long beard, but is that something that's encouraged within Greek Orthodox circles?
You must have a beard. Okay, so there are a couple of questions. A, you have to be a male. No woman cannot be a priest in the Orthodox Church. They say because when a woman goes through her cycle, she's dirty. She's not allowed to be back there. Second reason is Son of God, Jesus was a male, so you must be a male.
Mhm.
There's no excuse to that. So a lot of priests actually have long hair, like Jesus had, and a beard. Is following tradition.
Mhm.
So now to cut your beard short, you need a special blessing. Some priests cannot have long beard for skin reasons or whatever reasons is. They
Mhm.
get a special blessing for that.
Yeah.
And the hair too. Some men cannot grow long hair, so because they're losing their hair or whatever the case is. So they get a special blessing. It's because he's supposed to be, practicing the studies and everything as Jesus. He's pretty much. I don't want to say. I know I'm going to butcher the way I'm going to say this. Now I do apologize ahead of time. He's supposed to be representing the practice of Jesus in a way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now, is it encouraged also for the men? Just generally, like you as a layperson,
Mhm.
are men encouraged in the Orthodox faith to grow facial hair?
No.
As a okay.
No, it's not a must. And like a lot of Greek don't grow beards. They do it at 5 o'clock shadow mostly, believe it or not,
Mhm.
or something like this, like a very short beard to do.
Mhm.
It's rare when you see men like. I always call myself the black sheep of the Greek Orthodox Church because at one point when I started going back full force to church, tattooed, long hair down here, big ass beard, and I was a head turner. I actually enjoyed it, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
So now, and I'm still the black sheep because I'm unique. Now tattoos almost everybody has them, so they're not as much a head turner.
Yeah.
But coming with the beard and everything, is most Greeks, old school Greeks, you're going to see them with mustache a lot. My buddy George, he is one of your brothers, a bull brother. So he actually just has a 5 o'clock shadow because he runs a restaurant.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to wear a beard guard and just trims it very short.
Mhm.
If you actually, I'm gonna look something up for you guys. As you were talking. So it's not as common in Greece to have a beard, and now they're coming in. They're coming in full force too down there.
Yeah.
They just started to come poke their heads in there.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think what True North said earlier. I think it is, especially when a guy takes the time to put it in, like just a beard growing unkept. That's to me, that's one thing. And I know some guys take it even further where they start like braiding the beard hairs and things of that nature. I think that that's goes to a bit of an extreme. But I think certainly guys who put in that time to not only have a beard that's clean, to have a beard that's well manicured, to have a beard that is soft. Certainly I give a lot of credit to those guys who are willing to do that because I think a lot of it also has to do with just, again, what your daily or weekly routines are. I think a lot of us were in such a hurry to, get to work or just do certain things or whatever, to take that extra time, that extra 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it takes in the morning to get yourself together for work. I think those are things that a lot of guys just don't give time to because we're always running. But again, to have proper hair maintenance or to have even proper grooming maintenance, yes, Eric, indeed. And women with beards look hideous in beards. I would agree. So the bearded lady at the circus, yeah, I was never wanted to see that attraction at the circus. So I would certainly agree with you. That yeah, no facial hair on women, no hair period. My thing is, I think a woman bare from the neck down, from the mustache down, there should be no hair whatsoever. That's my personal opinion on women. We may do that in the future, a future show on body hair, but certainly I'm all about the clean shaven women from mustache level on down. Shout out to our guy Lost in Translation, also in the building tonight. As you can see, always, certainly very prim and proper with his beard and his mustache combination. Certainly exudes a very powerful look. Certainly with his beard game, and I know he puts a lot of care and maintenance into his styling of his beard. So I'm sure you can appreciate the conversation tonight as well. So definitely. So I think that, certainly, as trends go, I think there's certainly a trend. Also, the fact that I'm also in a lot of, again, strength training, sort of bodybuilding circles. I notice with a lot of the power lifters, you see a lot of these guys with beards, and they have like really big bushy beards now. So the idea of being massively strong and powerful, and having a powerful beard to go along with the very large, these guys like plus 300 pounds, and they're lifting, ridiculous amounts of weights and squatting and deadlifting or whatnot. So I think that look is fairly popular, certainly in the strength community. Also, we have these guys who exude this very powerful look, certainly with the beards. Although there've been some exceptions. I mean, I've watched some World's Strongest Man. We had guys who were clean shaven. Mariusz Pudzianowski, I know he dominated for a number of years, but he was always clean shaven. But certainly a lot of guys put that look in as well. But I want to talk a little bit more about, I guess, the crossover again into the mainstream, into the business world, the CEO type world. Because even like the company I work for now, I know the CEO, he doesn't rock facial hair. Are you seeing more with CEOs, or again, a lot of guys who are up front and center? The last guy I know who was like famous, like I said, Ralph Ellison of Oracle. I know he always kind of rocked the beard, but again, it was like kept. It was like sort of like the similar to your beard. And I know Steve Jobs of Formula of Apple. I know he started rocking a beard sort of later in his life as well. But
actually, he rocked it off and on.
Yeah.
During his college years, he rocked it the whole time, the long hair.
Oh, was it? Yeah, I'm talking in his latter years for sure.
Yeah, but he really, really started rocking it more again towards his end of the year. But he had a very short beard. He kept very good, maintains it. He didn't line it up or anything, but he kept it trimmed pretty well. Now, with the corporate world, I'll give somebody an example. One of my district managers, he has a long ass beard. He had longer than me. He was like close to 4 inches, his beard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a monster of a beard. And me and him were talking about it. Like, it was like, I want to be one of those guys that has tattoos, a beard. I walk in a room, and people are scared shitless of me. But when I talk, I'm actually the sweetest guy you can see.
Mm-hmm.
Bikers are known for beards too.
Oh yeah, that kind of goes with the look, because we even talked about that some time back. Why, or at least the image of beards, like what was the sometimes the stigma certainly against beards. That was always something that was, in fact, we can even raise that again, because I still have some slides from that show. We can kind of look at some of the again, the thought process at the time that may be maybe going away. So again, the corporate culture. So again, 6 reasons why corporate culture hates beards. So again, the first one we talk about, again, marked as laziness. Like I said, I don't think so. It can be if you let it go loosely, but I think a guy who really puts the time in to care for and groom his beard, I think that could be certainly an acceptable look in that culture. But I think the idea of, again, you don't want to look like you're homeless at the same time. And this was certainly something that I brought up earlier, because again, I had some sales training back, like I said, early in my career. And that was something that was just beat into us. It's like, look, you can wear, especially if you were religious, if there was like, if you were Islam or something, where if you had a cultural reason why you had a beard, that was, that wasn't like a deal breaker per se, but generally you were taught that, again, most people trust a clean shaven man is considered more trustworthy in business. Now, again, that could certainly be changing today from standards back in the day, but I remember at least 20 years ago, that was something that was just always given to us. So again, if you could, unless there was some sort of religious or cultural reason why you couldn't shave a beard, it was best to go beardless in that particular case. So again, trust being an issue. Again, a marked sign of laziness was an issue. Again, unhygienic. But again, 20 years ago, I don't think you had the beard kit. Like I only remember like beard coloring agents. Like I said, what's that? The Hair for Men, or what's the
Just for Men.
Just for Men. That was it. I mean, the amount of product that is open now for guys with beards to have. If I go into the men's grooming section, and they have like a whole section now within the men's grooming on bearded care. That wasn't something that existed 20 years ago. So I certainly think that the that landscape is changing as well, where guys are taking more care of themselves in that regard. Again, intimidating. So again, there's a look, obviously, is pretty pretty familiar, I'm sure, to Pete here, as far as
this is Sparta.
So again, are people intimidated by someone with a beard? Again, that may be up for debate. And again, I don't know if men or women look at that more so as a sign of intimidation, more so than not. Certainly that's a question, certainly for the panel. Again, low trust. We talked about that. Yeah. So again, the idea of the shiesty business guy, or the guy who has the mustache and he's twirling his mustache, was always something that was always put into us back in the day. Again, religious association. So again, you talk about the Greek Orthodox, you talk about Muslims and whatnot. That was always something that having a beard at one point looked more ethnic when you had a beard versus not. But again, I made this exception here because, again, certain religious cultures. Now, again, these two guys here, again, the Nation of Islam on the left, and this guy here on the right. I just had a brain freeze right now. But this guy in his church, this is all the facial hair that you're allowed to have. You can have a mustache with a little beard hair sort of underneath. But in his church, or in his religion, which is a branch of Christianity, no other facial hair. That's you can't be a member of his church having facial hair. Definitely keeping it high and tight. That was an exception there. But then also the idea of being rebellious. There's something about the beard that you're still looked at as non-conforming when you have a beard versus not. Again, that could be something. Geno Jennings, thank you, Lost. But yes, something about having a very prominent beard is something that, rightly or wrongly, is still associated with that. But again, this article, though, this was from almost 10 years ago, 8 years ago. So again, has that changed in corporate culture now? I mean, I work with guys who are, the best guys, have beards, have tattoos, open tattoos. I certainly think it's certainly changing in a lot of these cultures now. But I think, you still have an old school mentality that I think a lot of people, especially, and that may get you, it depends. It may get you to certain levels. You know what I mean? So like if you're like middle tier management, middle level management, that could be one thing. But if you want to talk about to a point where you start to become a quote unquote face of a company, then that might be something that is, less accepted. But we're saying, I mean, even in wrestling, right? I mean, Vince McMahon, for years, obviously no facial hair, whatnot, but now Triple H, who's running WWE right now, full, sort of fully bearded.
He has a Kronos beard / ducktail beard.
Right now. So that's something that certainly back in the day that wasn't going to be accepted, at least as a corporate image. But again, I think he's doing a lot to sort of change the the image and perception of that as well. But again, but for years, even as a wrestler, he wrestled without a beard. So again, I think
He always had a
Yeah.
beard.
not always.
Yes, he did. Go back and check.
Go back. Well, I go back to WCW days. So when he was
He was an only
Levesque, but even when he first came into WWE, you saw, he had a beardless look for a time. He got into the bearded look later on. So go back and look at some of the early stuff.
No, yeah, beginning, yes. About you had Ted DiBiase. He had a beard most of his career too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, but once you, it's for a lot of people say once you earn your stripes in a certain area, once you get into the rooms, then it's almost like, you can almost do anything you want. But for some guys on the come up, they may want to go with a look that is more acceptable in that community. So even Ted DiBiase early on in his career, actually well into his career, he didn't really rock the bearded look until he got to WWF. Prior to that, when he was with Florida, when he was with Mid-South and whatnot, he was beardless even in that capacity for a long period of time. So again, I think guys sort of adopt different looks over time. But even then, when he came in, I think there was a time when beards was also looked at as a sign of success. Again, a sign of power to rock a rock a beard. And so again, it comes and goes with the trend. So again, when he first got there, Triple H was really a baby face. So I think that he's gone back and forth, certainly with the bearded with the bearded.
One thing I'll give credit to Rich, he always changed his look. But one thing he always kept for a while is his long hair. He always had his.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. And he had the mullet. Yeah, he was probably the king of the mullets back in the day, for sure. But yeah, it goes back and forth in terms of ultimately what you want to exude, or what kind of image that you want to impress upon. But yeah, I mean, I think that as far as trends, I'll have to see. I think that the beard look, like I said, I don't think it's going anywhere. I think if anything, it's going to be on par with the clean shaven look, especially as, again, older generations start to sort of age themselves out of certainly corporate environments and whatnot, and what they think the face of a league is. I think I think that image is going to sort of die down over time. But again, also as you get established, think about all the athletes, just going back to the wrestling, but think about all of the athletes who, when they get drafted, right, they're clean shaven, but once they become names, they start doing stuff with their hair. I remember Cam Newton, quarterback for the Panthers, when he came into the league, again, very clean shaven. And then as he got more established, he started marking the dreads and the look and whatnot. So I think once you get to a level where you've demonstrated your ability, where look doesn't matter, I think that is certainly something that certainly you can start to downplay. So yeah, so certainly The Rock, certainly he didn't get it. Although when he did come back later, he did rock sort of like the goatee. He did have a goatee at one point. He did have that for a while. Yeah.
The only time he rocked the beard is in Hercules when he played that role. That's the only time he did it.
Yeah. But as far as his wrestling career, when he came after his
never had
comebacks in recent years, yeah, for sure. Though he did have those long sideburns, though, which is another look which I don't see a lot. I mean, obviously, if you grow a beard, obviously you're gonna have sideburns. But the idea of having
a long time ago,
having sideburns without the beard, that's definitely a much more 70s style look. Of what The Rock used to do. He used to have the sideburns kind of coming down,
chops.
but he didn't rock the beard though. But yeah,
I mean, he rocked a beard. It was in a movie called, when he played Hercules, because Hercules had a beard.
That is right.
That's the only time he rocked it. Except that he never grew a beard. Yeah. I don't think he's a fan of the beard, to be honest with you.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not a fan. And that keep in mind, I don't like shaving, quite frankly. I mean, if I could get, because one, I hate the ingrown hairs. I hate the fact that I don't have full beard coverage. The fact that I look younger without it, without the beard. Again, when I started losing the hair on my head, certainly I didn't want to rock that look, having an uneven head of hair. So like I said, I decided to go clean throughout the board. I think it makes me look younger. And again, since the fact that I still compete in an industry where I have guys, I'm going to be 56, and I got guys who are 36 in the same industry. I think, I wanted to have sort of every advantage. I didn't want to go into a job and say, okay, the guy's in his looks like he's in his 50s, and I'm competing with a guy who's 35. I still think companies might still have a bias there when it comes to ages and whatnot. So I never wanted to let on as far as, like, I even get looks now because it's where we may talk about things, especially with this trip that this job that I've been on. Like, we'll talk about stuff from like the 80s and whatnot, and people kind of give me a look sometimes. It's like, look, were you even born in the 80s? I take it as a compliment. But there's this woman I work with, even in New Jersey. I would have references to things, and she's looking at me like, were you even, how old were you then? so I'm like, I'm probably as old as you are. I just don't wear it. I just don't wear it the way you wear it. But again, 70s, 80s stuff, I was there. I certainly relate to all of that, and I've been told on several occasions that when I reference things from that time, and people be like, oh, were you even around during that time? And so so I take it as a compliment when my look doesn't necessarily give my age. If I do give away my age, it's going to be based on my experience, much more so than my the way I'm looking. And I think that's something that I'd like to use to my advantage. So amongst all those reasons, that's why I keep the clean look overall. So for those reasons.
So I'm going to push back what you were saying about where not having a beard, it would be more professional and you have more chance to get a job. I don't think it had that many. That's dealing with squat because that's your facial hair. Simple as that. If you did a 5 o'clock shadow, it wouldn't age you out one bit. Simple like that. Now,
well, I can't do it. Well, I can't do a 5 o'clock shadow either because, like I said, I have a very uneven beard. So again, for me to grow that in now, again, maybe with today's products and the resources that are available, like I said, this is going back 20 plus years. So at the time, like I knew when I was basically the last time I actually tried to grow a beard, like really just not care about it, whatever. That was when I had my auto accident back in '94. So I had so I just went for, months, if not years without, over a year without really shaving. And so I was able to grow fairly thick underneath. Like I said, when I was in college, I actually had a little, like I said, the Hotep used to be a look back in the day. So again, a lot of guys will grow a little beard like right here, and it got up to maybe about a half-inch length right about here. So again, so that was a look that a lot of guys had back in the day. I can grow here under here. On the sides, there was like areas where there was like no hair growth at all, where it would get very bushy in spots. So the fact that really no mustache either. That whole time I never really grew a mustache, and anytime I did, again, because of the curliness of my hair, it would always form these ingrowns and it would become uncomfortable. And I'm always picking the hairs out because of that. So I really couldn't grow a mustache, and I had whole blotches in my skin that was just bald. So again, that was something that it just wouldn't look good at the time. And the only hair I really got on a regular basis was underneath, like in this area here, but nothing on the sides. So again, that was just not a look that I embraced. So I always embraced a clean shaven look as a result. But again, I did a lot of maintenance on my hair. So again, I kept a short, wavy hairstyle. So again, I grew up in the area of do-rags, so again, the 80s, now my brother had a wave hair. So again, the black guys wearing the do-rags back, especially in the daytime. And again, when you went out at night, you took it off and you had that nice wave pattern in your hair. You put the sheens in and whatnot to make sure it was good. I had that look for years. Hundreds, if not thousands of brush strokes a day, forming a wave pattern, treating your hair at night, sleeping with the wave cap on and whatnot. I did that for decades. But it got, once my hair started to thin and I started to lose it, especially, like I said, 2016, 2017, I just started going to the barber and just getting it cut very short to even out the balding that was happening. And then once COVID happened, then I said, you know what? And also you start to see those head shavers that started to come out, like the pit bull shaver and whatnot, different head shavers, the 5-head, 6-head shavers. Then I just decided, you know what? Because I can't go to the barber now, and I didn't trust myself to shave my head, with a razor or trimmers or anything else, I decided to invest in one of those head shavers, and I never went back after that. So you're talking for the past 5 years plus, I've used that, never had really any nicks or cuts or anything. It's something I can do not only every day, but I could also do it several times a day. So again, if I get a 5 o'clock shadow up here, let's say before I'm going out at night, I can just very easily whip that shaver out and do it. I take it with me on my trips. And so it's just part of my morning routine every day. The only thing, as I said a couple shows ago, the only thing I would recommend it for guys who use it, again, use a pre-shave, pre-electric shave product, like not skin bracer, but what's electric shave, because that really not only stiffens the hair so it's easier to cut, it also gives you a good glide for the razor as you're going over your head with it. And so again, it's a much more comfortable shave using something like electric shave versus just trying to do it in the shower or whatnot. It can feel very uncomfortable, or you feel a lot of drag as you're doing it. So that product in particular, I think, is a must if you want to commit yourselves to getting one of those particular razors. But outside of that, though, but I've certainly grown to appreciate the look, and again, just how I'm treated is just amazing. A lot of times, how I'll be in conversation and older guys will talk about something, and it's like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because I was there. And then the look that I will get, when people raise the questions like, what were you, 5 then? It's like, no, I was a teenager at the time. I was just there. So I appreciate the compliments when people say that I don't look my age, and certainly I don't act my age either. So I think all those things work in my favor.
So if you remember 2 years ago when I donated my hair, I went completely bald.
Yes.
What I was using on my head, again, you might call me crazy. I know you're going to. I was using the electric didn't work for me because I have very thick hair. So what I was putting pre-shave oil from Aura Shaving, and I used the man, what was it called now? What is it? Shaving cream, the shaving wash.
Yeah.
Ladder my head. I didn't use a straight razor. I was not that fucking brave, or a safety razor. Again, I'm not that stupid either.
Yeah.
I use one of those Mach 3s, and I used to shave that. That was perfect for me. Every other day, I do that, and I was fine.
Yeah. And that the reverse for me, because I use the Mach 2, the Mach 3, the Mach 4, 5-blade, 6-blade, and I would get the worst cuts with those things. So I went back to because again, I would get hairs, get if you have ingrowns or whatnot, you would have those blades would still cut you. So I went back to an old school safety razor, just the same one my dad used. I used one for years.
Oh yeah, that's what I use now.
Yeah, very limited cuts with that. And recently I went back to the single side safety razor, and I mean rarely ever get cut with that. It's the smoothest shave I ever got, safest shave that I ever got. And and I can be much more aggressive with it because again it has these ridges on there, so it stops you from getting cut. So again, very rarely do I get cut using it. And I'm sold. I got mine is actually from the supply company, supply.co. And I've been using that for the past 3 years now, and I absolutely love it. I wouldn't go back to any other razor. I'll use that for going forward. And so me going back, getting away from the multi cartridge, not to mention the price, because it got to a point where you get a pack of those Gillette Mach 3s or Mach 4s or whatever. They were
they're expensive shit.
It's like $20-$25 a pack.
Some of them are $50 now.
Well, I'm just saying when I started then it was in that range. But I remember when I went to old school safety razor, I can get like 100 blades for $10. And that lasted me like, in fact, I even posted on my Facebook, like basically a year plus. It was like 18 months worth of razors. I just kind of had them and I just showed them in the clip there. But that 100 razors lasted me well over a year. And so it's definitely cheaper.
Gazelle had a big sale on Amazon with safety razors. All right. So there was like, I think it was like 20 packets for $30. I haven't bought razors in years. I have a whole bag still that goddamn things. I bought them because, oh shit, these are a great deal. They're good blades. I know the company. I'm straight. No fun intended, of course. But that's what I like. Like when I try to teach my dad how to use a safety razor, when you first start, you cannot rush. You got to take your time the first couple times to get a feel for it. And there is a process, like I use pre-shave oil because how rough my skin is and how my hair thick it is. Yeah. There's so many different kinds. I recommend Art of Shaving. Which one do you use, Paul?
I use Art of Shaving. I also use, it's an Italian, forget the name of it off the top. Let me look it up real quick, but it's an Italian company that I get. And I just ordered it off of Amazon. And that's also good. And it comes as like the cup. It's almost like what they call a crope. It's like part cream, part bar. So I'll get that. But then they also got the stuff then they got the stuff similar to Art of Shaving that's kind of squeezable out of a tube. And so I'll use that as well.
It comes in a little jar.
But it also comes in a tube. It has a tube.
Oh, you get I know you do. You get the traveler package. It's a little cheaper, right?
Yeah, and then I also use, now there's a shave oil that I use. Actually, I'll pick it up sometimes from Walmart. That is just a shave. It's just a straight shave oil. Now I take that on with this travel that I'm doing. I take that on the road with me because again, it's very small. It's a little tube about that big, and you just need a couple drops of oil. You put it on, and then what I really like about the oil is that I only have to apply it once. Like when I use the shave soap or the cream, you get the brush, you whip it up, you put it on. You got to do it 3 times. So your first pass is the straight passes or the down strokes. The second pass is the cross strokes. The third pass is the ones against the grain. With that shave oil, I only have to put it on one time, and my skin stays hydrated and moisturized enough where I only have to do one pass or one application, and I'm good for the entire shave. So because of its small size, because again, especially traveling as much as I do, I don't want to take a lot of products with me. I try to have a minimalist view when it comes to travel. Again, that little tube like that will last me over a month, and so I'll take that with. But I do like the experience of, again, coming in, you put the shave soap in, you get you warm up your brush, you whip it up and whatnot, you whip up the lather. It smells terrific. I love sandalwood fragrance.
Same here. I actually agree with that.
I love sandalwood. So I love the experience of, when I'm home, especially, that's when I'll use the product when I'm at home. But on the road, or if I know, let's say if I am running late for whatever reason, and I just don't have time to go through all that heating up the brush with the hot water, because usually I'll heat up my brush, I'll take my shower and everything. I get, so my beard softens and whatnot. Then I put the shave oil on, and then I mix it. That process, sometimes I don't have time. And so again, in a pinch, I still wash my face. I still put hot water on, warm water on, but then I put the oil on, and it's a fast shave, and it kind of gets me in and out without much fuss. And like I said, on the road, it's just convenient because I don't have to take my shave brush with me. I don't have to take a lot of extra things with me. So I really try to travel as light as I can.
That part I understand. So the trick I teach everybody who started doing straight razors, even regular razors, shower then shave.
Yes,
it lasts longer. I never shave in the morning. When I cleaned up my cheek line and my neckline, I did it tonight. Not doing it in the morning. 1, I don't have the fucking time, and 2, I don't want to do it, and 3, I'll get lazy. So at night, the hot is like a hot shave. It gives you it lasts you about another day or so versus a regular cold shave. You only get maybe a day if you're lucky, depends how your growth is. So that's why most men are stopped shaving. They don't want to deal with the hassle in the fucking morning.
Yeah.
And electric shavers are the worst. I think they suck. They suck. My dad loves them. He loves electric razors. These are the best thing in the world. He thinks.
Yeah.
I think
that brand that I was referring to is called Proraso, Proraso, Proraso. So again, they have the cup, they have the cream sort of a combination. So I usually get the tube of that. They have they got a sandalwood that is just really, really good. So I just love that process of sort of putting that putting that on. But shout out to also Mandrell. He's also in the building tonight. So Mandrell, I know he still to this day, he's in his 40s. He still rocks the clean shaven look for the most part. So I don't know. It has Mandrell, if you're still in the chat, have you ever grown out like a full beard? I know he comes from a military background as well. So again, I don't know if that's just something that's been passed down to kind of always keep that clean shaven look. But I'm just curious. I'm just curious to see what Mandrell looked like if he had like a full beard or if he's ever tried to grow one out. Like I said, I tried. I couldn't.
The goatee sometimes. The little thin goatee.
Yeah, so I'd be curious about him in beards. Does he prefer? Has he tried, and would he ever trying to grow out a full beard? And how do you like rocking that look if he ever did? So, but again, appreciate you being here tonight. But
so with the goatees and all that stuff, it just I don't know, man. I tried everything to shave, even electric. I hate electric more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a waste of money, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know you have to do like once you get like every single day to get clean shave. I never, even my barber, he knows better. He doesn't even put electric on me anymore. He gets done. Every time he tries it, he goes over and over and over and over and like goes over and over. And look at like, the fuck's wrong with your hair? And I'm like, it's thick fucking hair, dude.
Yeah.
And he has good equipment too. He's not like he's getting the cheap shit. I got a very expensive electric Panasonic, what I think it was called.
Well, wait, so was it like a foil or was it like a rotating, like a Norelco?
Tried everything.
Right. But I'm just saying some guys now, again, with black men, now another shaving tool that people use, again, was simply the clippers, especially the one that was used for edging. You would use the same one, again, for beard because, again, you didn't want, because black men typically have curlier hairs. We're much more prone to ingrown hairs because of just the curliness of our hair. A lot of times they would use the edgers, the Andes and similar type of trimmers because, again, you didn't want to get it too close. Because a lot of especially the cartridge systems, they had that lift and cut. It would actually cut in such a way where the hair would go actually below the skin. So like basically as you're trimming, it pulls the first blade pulls the hair forward, the second one does the cut, and when it cuts, the hair kind of goes back under the skin. And so now you're setting up a situation because the hair is below the skin, because the hair is curly, when it grows in, it's going to grow in under the skin and form a bump, a razor bump. So again, for a lot of black men, the idea was, again, stick with a safety razor. Like I said, just like as my dad did, he never had any long hairs.
Believe it or not, bro.
What's that?
Even for us white men, the same shit.
Yeah. But certainly because of that curliness of the hair, you wanted something that you wanted to cut where it was close, but it didn't have to be like baby smooth. And so again, using like an Andes or clipper set was also very popular back then, but a lot of those Norelco razors wouldn't work for black men's skin because again, the nature of the hair, because that whole lift and cut sort of thing, it wouldn't always grasp the hair, or you had to use some sort of product, like I said, like the electric shave, because the idea was that it was supposed to make the hair stiffer and make the hair stand up, so that when you did use an electric product, it would glide over and you would get a smoother shave as a result of it. But you had to have that sort of combination with it if you were going to use it.
Personally, me, electric doesn't do shit. I'm just going over in circles, nothing. Even better. Now, when it comes to lining up with a edger and all like that, that's fine. I have no problem with that. He can get edged up. But to give
is that what you usually get done, or does the barber does the razor?
Both.
Like,
So he starts with the edger to get it, nice and cleaned at 1st.
Yeah.
Then he goes and he just finished up with a razor. He tried to do it like he usually lined it up at first a couple times, and then he went with the razor just cleaning it up. Nope, he learned his lesson. I'm like, I'm not doing that shit again. He goes,
yeah. I gotta ask you though,
that.
what are you getting married in? So all this talk about the shaving and all that, but when you get married, I'm still trying to picture the look that you're gonna rock at your wedding. I'm just curious what have you given some thought to when that day does happen? What are you going to be rocking? How do you see yourself with that day? Full beard, longer hair, more trimmed, more stylized. What do you think would be the look, the Sparta look for his wedding night when you're in that tuxedo and all those things? You're gonna have what do you think the thing that you put on your head is the chain with the headband? What is that called?
The halo.
The halo, yeah. So have you given some thought to what that look is going to be like?
I haven't, to be honest with you. You mentioned something now. So I always had to say my beard probably going to be something like this at that day, because I think my future wife would probably kill me if I had my long beard.
Well, unless she loves it? I mean, like you said, some women love the long beard. So
yeah. Now the hair, I'm probably going to be rocking something similar, like a classic. Come over and call it a day. Nothing crazy. I won't be doing anything ridiculous to it. That's it, really. Like maybe take the sides down. Nothing too crazy. Like
okay, so you're gonna keep it.
You do.
So you're gonna keep it tight. You sort of high and tight. You're gonna keep it. Respect. You're not gonna go. Not having it too long or whatever. Okay. Somebody, I wasn't sure, but I thought you might want to do something a bit more bold, since it is your wedding day one time or whatever, that you want to be, I guess, memorable. So I thought you would.
Yeah, also keep in mind a lot of Greek weddings are very traditional weddings. Mm-hmm. So if I go something too crazy, and my wife, I come in and let's say I did a tomahawk, and she goes,
"Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying though, but in terms of like beard length and whatnot, I thought guys would be, because again, you're gonna get married in the Orthodox church as well. So again, a lot of the priests are gonna have long beards and whatnot. So I thought, you would have a little more leeway in terms of the type of look that you want to rock in that particular time. But yeah, man, it's a lot that's out there. Guys have, I think the choices that men have is basically becoming almost as much, again, someone would say for good or for bad or whatever, but because you hear about manhood and whatnot. I know there's been times, especially like I said, military guys, there's like a look that like a man like must have. But now it's almost like with the choices that are available now, it's almost like what a woman can have, like an infinite number of hairstyles, that when a woman decides to go to a beautician or whatever, different hair color, different hairstyles over the years, it's almost becoming as varied for men in terms of the choices that they have, in terms of what's also going to be acceptable in mainstream society is growing to where I think guys back then had little more options. When in black barbershops, when you took your kid to the barber, it was like, again, you there was like a certain hairstyle that you just had, because you didn't necessarily want to stick out too much, or you didn't want to have to put so much wear or care into the way your hair looked. You just got something that was short, low cut or whatever. When you became a teenager, it's kind of when you started playing with your hairstyle and whatnot. Now I'm seeing like young boys that have dreads and braids and hair that's very stylized, whereas before, you just kept it short. When you went to the barbers. Now again, you see even boys with much more varied hairstyles now than before. So it's definitely becoming a much broader field.
So when I was going to school, at least my black friends had braids and dreads and different style haircuts. So that was normal for me. Believe it or not, my white friends were keeping it very simple and bored, like a buzz cut or crew cut, very simple. Like here, I'll show you a picture really fast. What I mean, I rocked this and I mentioned this before, I rocked this for years and years and years. Like this was the style I rocked for a long time. Like skin fade on the side, a one on top, cold and simple. For a couple of reasons. One, I was too fucking lazy to maintain my hair. I didn't give a shit about it, to be honest with you. Second was I was a cook most of the time of my life. So I'm always wearing a fucking hat. So what's the point of having long hair? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now that's a look. Now just to that's almost like a black look. I mean, like you could go to like a black barbershop and get that kind of hairstyle, especially with the beard, again, the sort of shadow beard and whatnot. That's a very ethnic look. I know you said you went to school with a lot of black friends and students and whatnot, but that's definitely a look that would be very common certainly in that community. So.
When I started rocking this, a lot of my black friends weren't doing that kind of style. They were just going down to the skin, very simple. So when I did it the first time, and I remember the barbers looked at me like, "What do you want to get done? Kidding, like skin fade or one on top?" They looked at me like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yep." And it went and it was like I called that a modified version of a military cut because that's what I liked at the time. Very simple, very easy. Once in a while, I will go back to this. Once in a while, every so often, like I'm bored, go back to it and start doing a restart in the hair. You know me, bro. I do some crazy shit with my hair. I'm like, I have it. Why not fuck with it, right?
Yeah. But you look very ethnic there as well. Like it's almost like if you told me in that shot, okay, you're Puerto Rican or something, like I could see it. Like
I was called Puerto Rican so many times in that haircut. That ain't funny. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, I'm not goddamn Puerto Rican.
Yeah, but I can certainly see people mistaking you for that, with that kind of, with that kind of look. But I think certainly the amount of styles, the amount of options that men have for personal grooming, I think is as big as it's ever been, and with that number of choices, I don't know if that makes it harder or that makes it better for men to have so many choices but again, the idea of expression, especially now. Certainly in corporate culture, there's also rules now. Like I know in New Jersey, there's a law in the books called the Crown Act, which certainly says that you cannot discriminate against particular hairstyles. So again, that's for ethnic minorities in particular. If you want braids, if you want box braids, if you want for men, if you want certain styles, that you can't be discriminated against. Or if your employer tries to come to you and says, hey, we like you and everything, but could you cut your hair? On the books, they're not allowed to do that. That's something you can actually go to HR with and say, look, they're trying to get me to wear a certain hairstyle or whatever. And again, it's not in every state. Several states have Crown Acts. A lot of them, certainly in the North, certainly have those sort of things. In the South, maybe not as much. In fact, there have been some pretty high-profile cases where you've had black children who've been forced by certain school districts to cut their hair, cut their braids or their dreads or whatever, and parents, suing those schools because the undue pressure on their children to conform. So again, there's been cases like that, but I know in New Jersey, the Crown Act is certainly prevalent here. So yeah. So
the only time that should fall in place at your employment is if you're a cook. Straight up. I worked with a chef that he had dreads literally down to his ankles.
Yeah, you got to keep that up.
He wrapped it up and he put it in the chef cap. He never complained. Like he even said to us, if I have to put my hair up, you're going to have to put your hair up. And you're going to have to wear a hairnet. He used to wear a hairnet underneath and a cap.
Yeah.
So that I see that's exceptions to the law because you're going to have to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've definitely seen the bearded nets as well as on the top the hair nets as well. So I've seen certainly both of those in play, and I can certainly understand why they would have their chefs or cooks or people who work in those industries, why they would have them.
So here's and I've actually talked to a lot of chefs, and a lot of them actually agree with me. So the state says it depends if you're healthcare or non-healthcare. If you're not healthcare, the inch and a half they allow you. Now healthcare says anything over the 5 o'clock shower, you have to wear a beard guard. Because sure, the beard like this, when you start scratching or whatever, you actually have small breakages at the top point. Mm-hmm. Now the longer beard, believe it or not, has less breakages. You should still wear it. I'm not saying you shouldn't. You should definitely wear it, but longer is more safer for food wise.
Yeah.
But I have girls like at my place have the big ass eyelashes. Like, yeah, that's not allowed. I make them take them off. They walk in and like, you got two choices: go home or take them off. That's the only two options you have. Nails, same concept. If you walk in my kitchen with nails, your nails are coming off by the end of the shift, or you're not gonna have a job because that's a health violation right now. Because if that nail breaks in the food, that's it.
Yeah, I never got the exaggerated eyelash thing. I mean, if you want to look like Mr. Snuffleupagus from Sesame Street or something, but I never got the lashes that kind of go up and down like this. That I never got that as a look per se. But you know, I guess some ladies they find it attractive. But I've never paid attention to eyelashes to begin with. There's just certain things when we talk about a woman. I've never paid attention to eyelashes. That why is that such a thing that is so popular? You think that does so much for you because you got to put the lash stuff on to make your lashes longer. Maybe that's just, trust me, there's enough anatomy on a woman for me to be paying attention to besides your eyelashes. So eyebrows maybe, but not the lashes. So I never understood why that was a thing where they put the press on ones on and all this extra stuff that
I never give a shit what kind of eyelashes or eyebrows a woman had, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I might nails maybe if we have the big ass fucking nails like out to here. My question always goes to how you wipe your fucking ass with them things. And like if it's like a small sport length, that's fine. But again, in kitchen world, you're not going to have nails on.
Yeah.
If you're a server, they're coming off. I don't care. I'm just serving. They still have to come off. Health violation. If they walks in, you get fucking hit, and the business gets hit. So that's why they make that rule.
Yeah, same thing. The fingernails. Now my wife, she's grown over the years. Well, especially when I first met her, she always had long fingers. Like she always prided herself on having long fingernails, but they would always break, and so she would be frustrated. Oh, I broke a nail. It's like, but I used to tell her, like, I never cared about the length of your nails. Like, that's not import, but that was always something she just took pride in, being able to grow, pretty long, length naturally. That was just something that she always did. But, but I never saw that as something that was so necessary. But yeah, a lot of women put that on, or the money that they spend getting the tips put on, and that stuff over time, that damages your nails also, because you got to put that glue on and have that glue come off, and then they put that sander thing to get the glue off. I mean, you're actually thinning your nails out when you're putting all those tips on.
Because my mom used to go after all my exes, like, yo, give your fingers a break. Like, if you want to do it 3-4 months in a row, give you like at least a good month break, and then go back to it. And every time they didn't listen to her nails underneath is rotted completely.
Yeah,
I'm happy, sometimes.
They say a lot of these beauty standards. I mean, they say a lot of these women aren't just dressing to attract men, because again, most men that I know of, again, we don't care about that stuff. So they say a lot of women really dress to impress other women, but guys, lashes, nails, whatever, not deal breakers with us. In fact, we probably rather you go without, because again, the money also that you're spending on that stuff is certainly not attractive also when you're spending so much on having to constantly get those things. I mean, I don't mind, again, healthy manicures and pedicures. We definitely like smooth feet. Get the rough edges, get your feet keep your feet soft and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. But they added with the nails, and then you want to get the designs and the toenail and all
it goes too much. Like, I don't mind if you get your nails done. I don't mind your feet done. But when you start going overboard, that's where I give a shit. Like, that's a little bit too much, in my opinion. But what I had a comment a minute. I totally forgot it. Like, my man, shit, fucking hate when that happens.
It'll come to me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm getting old like you.
And I am old, but look, I try to age as gracefully as I can, as long as I can. I'm pretty beat up right now because the one thing with this travel, basically, I usually work out twice a week. So because just the lack of equipment in that area, so I may have to, so I do once a week when I get home. But I think I'm starting to feel it when you try to do everything in one shot. So what I may try to do is, because I think I saw like an Anytime Fitness down there, So I may actually try to, maybe sign up for some passes to kind of go to a gym so I can kind of simulate. And screw
So
up my
I
workout.
actually just about to cancel my Anytime Fitness Pass membership. They don't do day passes anymore. They got rid of that service.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's try to see if there's anything else around there. I always recommend if you see a lot of like a Planet Fitness because it cancel anytime with no fees. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go in there and talk to them. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, they don't have one near me. Again, the area I'm at. I mean, they have a ton of restaurants and whatnot. Not a lot of amusements, and they don't have a lot of gyms. They don't even have a movie theater. There's a movie theater. The nearest one is like an hour away from where I'm at.
So, it came back to me now. Finally, I know what I was going to say.
What's that?
So the girls who are more fit or going to the gym or working out all the time, they really don't do their nails as much or get like the the makeup. Yeah, they do. But the nails, they don't do it. I realize that. Literally, the girls who
unless they're competing for shows. Now, again, if you're a competitor, like you're gonna get on stage, you're gonna get the.
I'm talking the average Joe, like me and you.
Yeah.
Average woman, average Joe, like a girl who just likes to work out, like Kateria, for example. That's a bad example. She competes, right?
I don't know. I know she has some exposure in that world. I don't. She doesn't.
Let's say for argument's sake, she doesn't.
Right.
Somebody like that doesn't get her nails done. And it's like, okay, no big deal. She puts the work in. Then the other girl over there, she puts the work in McDonald's instead. And she gets her nails done. I think it's hilarious to see that.
So yeah. So again, the work that for the body and for your overall health, you're less worried about. All the extras that go with it. But for those who, right, in those type of circles, they spend so much extra on hair and makeup and nails and all these other things that, at the end of the day, don't really matter. So certainly a lot of this has to do with priorities and caring more about the inside, working from the inside out versus trying to put something on the outside.
I'll give you a better example. Sometimes they will spend money on the nails and then save money. If I'm tight on money, sometimes I go back to just take it all off. And say until it grows back, I'll save some few bucks there for a few months.
I know, but
you know better than I do.
Yeah, but that, like I said, that's a conversation all in itself. And actually,
next show conversation, I think.
I don't know. Well, I think ladies should certainly chime in more in that conversation. As for, why do you think the need is for all that extra stuff? I would certainly like to have the women, and maybe we could talk to some of the guys, ladies on your side of the register and see if they want to have that conversation. Maybe Mariana may want to have a conversation about women.
I'll get her on.
That would be that might be a worthwhile conversation. Getting some ladies to talk about why do you need all that? I think that would be worthwhile as a conversation topic. But I think we're coming towards the end of the show. Again, we want to be respectful of time. And again, I got to pack. I got a few more things to do certainly before I get out of here. And as you guys know, certainly I'm missing out on some things when I'm not here. I'm just saying. But so I got to make sure I have my tank filled before I leave. So I just got to make sure I got to take care of a few things before I go here. And so we're gonna end the show in a timely fashion. But certainly as we get ready for our final thoughts on the show, we're going to ask again, thank you all for being with us tonight on the show. We're going to make sure you hit the like button, not only here, but also go over to the Sparta HQ Network, hit the like button over there as well. We're very close, if not over monetization. So again, appreciate all the work that Sparta's doing over there to certainly build and grow a network there as well. So again, show some love over there as well. It helps both platforms out. And again, as long as this keeps going on, I'll still make myself available. Certainly be here, certainly for the gray area topics. Looking forward to having more topics to talk about in the future. But as we close out this show on again, why do men stop shaving, and what the idea of what is the masculine image, the masculine look, beard, no beard, mustache, no mustache, or a combination of the two. Was certainly for the conversation tonight. I think this goes across cultures, different cultural norms and values, but those things are very fluid these days, and opinions are changing over time. But as I said, I think certainly men in general are have a lot more options, and there's a lot more acceptance in terms of what you can and cannot wear in any setting, whether it be in a corporate setting, professional settings or whatnot. I think there's a lot of variety as to what I know some certain groups of people, they're very standard in terms of the look that they want men to project. But again, those views certainly I think are evolving. But yeah, but I said I like a clean shaved image. But my partner is as always, certainly rocks the beard and the hairstyles and whatnot. But you have choices, so this is a gray area. But ultimately, what makes you feel good, it makes you feel most productive in the environments that you work in. I think that's really where the emphasis needs to be. But you do have choices. So with that, I'll turn it over to my partner for his final thoughts.
I'll keep it very sweet and simple. Once you go beer, you won't go back. Very simple.
Well, like I said, I don't know if I could ever grow one. But again, who knows? Maybe if I get
some products. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
Wife for kill me, but that's fine. She can't find me. Good thing.
I'm sure you would. Well, I'm sure she has ways. But that being said, but we appreciate you guys being part of this conversation tonight. And so again, I got 6 a.m. flight. I'll be on heading south again. So you'll see me out here, probably the one-on-one sports show on Wednesdays. Obviously, the NFL preseason is really in full swing at this point. So again, lots to chop up with football and whatnot. So certainly stay tuned for that show. Sparta, you got some shows coming up this week. If you want to plug your channel real quick before we close.
Yeah, this week we have some interesting shows. Let me get the link, copy and paste, so I can throw it for you guys. This week we have some really good topics coming up. Wrong box. Let me check my schedule really fast to see what is coming up this week. Then I have some really nice stuff coming up. So, actually, I think there's a good quick schedule update for you guys, so you guys had an idea what was coming up this way.
Curtis Moore, appreciate you stopping on through tonight as we close out the show. Always appreciate you being here. And make sure you guys, again, we're going to have shorts and replays of the show coming out very soon. So, again, stay tuned for those as well. But, again, Curtis, I appreciate you coming in tonight.
On Tuesday, we're doing Knowing Your Why, Unlock the Power of Purpose. And our animes, I got to post that. We're missing the anime show. That's going to be with Wally and David. And on Thursday, Say Less, Hear More, the Power of Real Communication.
That's
you
right.
and Coach Trey.
So that's Next Gen Training, me and Coach Trey Ferg. Certainly the two bald opinions, as we like to call ourselves, certainly always chopping it up over there. So again, always like to give my bald brother as we chop things up. So looking forward to that conversation.
And on Saturday coming up, we will be going over a topic that is very sore to my subject: the fast food wars. And that we're going to argue. Someone's going to argue in that one. And next week we're going to be talking about here is how has music changed over the years.
Very highly debated. I fight with my kids all the time about this one. So
I kind of arguing with David last time we did that on my side of the channel. Only African has real music. I'm like, no, it don't, bro. You're talking about shit now. How
that should be an interesting one. That should be an interesting show.
Oh, absolutely. But the difference about with us and anybody else, we can have a fun, serious conversation still. A nice screaming yell.
Absolutely.
But close it out.
All right. Well, again, thank you all once again. So for myself, Mr. Bennett, he is.
This is Sparta!
Sparta, a.k.a. Peter, a.k.a. Panayotis. This has been the Gray Area. You guys enjoy your week. Take care. God bless. And we will see you next time. Good night.